Welcome, everyone. This is Our Android Week with Alan Furstenberg in New York, Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia, Duke Carrico in Kingsport, Tennessee, Cadeas Kalut in Newport Beach, California, and in Menifee, California, Pam Adger. This is Our Android Week. And always a pleasure. Joining me is Alan Furstenberg in New York. So our first thing, Alan, you I think you have a Moto 360, right? You got it at I/O,
Yep.
and or you got the LG, and then they sent you the other one or whatever it was. So now apparently there's a hack or creative
It's a
engineer.
hack. Let's be
It's a
blunt
hack.
here. It's a
Okay.
hack.
So you can now use your Android Wear Moto 360 with a with an iPhone, which was not the intended purpose, if I recall
Well, you could
correctly.
sort of use it with an iPhone.
Okay, so, and I guess he hasn't said how he did it, or he hasn't released the code, right? But he said he used the API. I'm getting adjusted here. He used the actual Apple API with the iPhone, right, to do this.
Yeah, it taps into the notifications API that Apple has, which gives it some of the similar features that the notifications API on Android has, but far from the full range of features. So this is an interesting hack. It's an interesting proof of concept that this isn't a totally wacko, out of the question uh, concept, but this is far from something that actually works well.
And could be shut down, which is probably why he didn't release the source code, right?
Well, the only person that can really shut it down is Apple.
That's what I mean.
Apple has perfect perfect interest of shutting stuff down that it doesn't want.
Yeah. Okay. And that's probably why he didn't release the code?
No,
Or do you think they already, any
I think
engineer would know how he
I
did
don't
it?
know why he didn't release the code. My guess is that he's still refining it and trying to get it to work better.
Okay. All right. There you go. So, this will probably not cause the Apple Watch to not be a hit.
Oh no, there's nothing in the world that could cause the Apple Watch to not be a hit, including the fact that it's going to be an utter train wreck.
Why is it going to be a train wreck?
Well, let's see. There's the whole stories that came out in the past week about how the internal development of it was a train wreck, about how they ripped out a ton of the sensors that they originally wanted to do, and the fact that it looks like a pile of Dippin' Dots on your wrist.
I missed those. I knew a guy had a Dippin' Dots thing in the mall. He was a good guy. It was good stuff. All
I
right.
love Dippin' Dots, but I don't love wearing it on my wrist.
You've proven that you'll wear any possible gadget anywhere in your body.
No, that's obviously false.
Okay.
I only wear well-designed gadgets.
Okay. I stand corrected. All right, next is LG reveals. Wait a minute. What the hell am I doing? I'm on the wrong.
We've been wondering that for years, Dan.
Where's the. My topics are gone. Oh my god. In the topic doc, it's gone. Can I undo? I literally like deleted um, all of the topics for tonight. Oh my god.
Yeah, don't do that, Dan.
What the hell did I do? I'm like going to the Urbane or whatever.
You probably had everything selected and then you clicked on one of your numbers that magically replaced it all.
That's probably, but I can't undo it. How come I can't undo it? Oh
And I
my
don't know.
god. Okay, so let's go to the YouTube thing. I've got them there. Or I can go to the revision, right? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Oh my god. Where's the thing where you go to file revision history?
Where it says last edit was made seconds ago by Dan McDermott. Which doesn't have it either. I'm pretty impressed, Dan. You did a really good job of wiping this out. The next story, however, was about...
It's on the YouTube thing, which I can't see because I'm streaming and I'm afraid now I'm going to... Oh my God, what an embarrassing nightmare. Okay, so... All right, so next up, Tap and Play comes to Wallet on Android. I know you were extremely excited about that.
Oh my God, this has got to be one of the biggest Charlie Foxtrots I've seen from Google Wallet yet. And this is a product that has seen its share. They're boasting about the fact that a feature that they've tried to have for 4 years may finally eventually be coming to the product because they bought out the company that had been fighting them on it all for 4 years. And they're touting this as a feature. I'm baffled by this one. So essentially the story is, and we're talking, to be clear to everyone, we're talking about Google Wallet here.
Not to be
Google
confused
Wallet,
with
Google Wallet, Google Wallet, Google Wallet, or Google Wallet. So let's be clear about what we're talking about here. This is the one where, in theory, you could take your phone, tap it against an NFC reader when you're checking out, and magic will happen. Things get paid for. A bunch of years back, some of the major mobile carriers, namely AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, blocked the Google Wallet app from all of their installations. Instead, they went and tried to favor their own product, which at the time was called ISIS, and which got a rename a couple of months ago because they didn't want to be associated with some unsavory characters, let's say.
Yeah.
Now, Google has bought out that company and is getting access to all of its patents and is incorporating all of that into its product. And in exchange, the carriers are promising they're going to carry this product. They're going to carry Google Wallet. This is wonderful. Finally, everybody realizes, oh, hey, Apple Pay is going to screw us over unless we do something. So they decided to actually do something. 4 years too late. I'm sorry, 4 years too late, and it's a crappy product now. It was a halfway decent product 4 years ago. It's a crappy product now.
I tried to use it. I think Radio Shack accepted it, but it didn't work.
There are places all over that accepted it. I mean, I was able to use it at CVS. I've used it at Walgreens. I used it at a bunch of... I used it at BJ's. I used it at a bunch of different places. The problem was the app itself is crap. It's utter, total crap. I just tried using it today at Home Depot. Okay? And after 5 minutes of it not working, I pulled out my credit card and got through in about 10 seconds. At CVS, I need to re-enter my PIN 3 times. This is a train wreck.
What's going to happen with... how's Apple Pay doing?
Modestly well. Its biggest problem is that, it still doesn't have as many terminals as they would like, but it's doing reasonably well from what I understand. And when the Apple Watch comes out, they're just going to knock Google Wallet to the floor and kick it all over.
But I think they have like 30. I think they said 39% of mobile payments are Apple Wallet already. I think that was the number. But as far as the physical, does it work well for the consumer, for the user? Well, is it quick and reliable and fast?
As I said, 39% seems absurdly low. That really says that Apple Wallet or Apple Pay has serious problems. Because I can't think of anything else out there in this space besides Google Wallet, which sucks, and Apple Pay, which apparently only has 39% of the mobile payment.
Was that a domestic or an international number?
What was that?
It wouldn't be surprising if it was an international statistic.
If it was international, then it would be interesting, because let's see. That would mean that it's still 39% in the US and Japan, which would be 61%. Because nobody else, well, no, that's not true. No, I still don't
I
buy that
think in
that's an
Asia,
international number.
in this big in Asia, and they actually have working apps that have for some time, and they buy
Japan's
stuff.
been doing this for only about 10 or 15 years. And
Why
most
can't
of
we get our
Africa is
shit
doing
together?
this.
You know, it's
But,
not rocket science. Why can't they get their? It's very frustrating.
well, it's frustrating because US banks are piles of idiots who really don't care about the consumer. That's really what it boils down to.
And all the companies that are the legacy incumbents that are making the money, are kicking and
Those
screaming.
would be the banks that I just referred to.
And Visa, Mastercard.
Those are banks. Technically, they're just banks.
Okay. Anything else on this exciting new feature?
Yeah, if Google doesn't get their shit together damn quick, they're going to be really screwed on the Google Wallet.
I don't know if they care.
Obviously, they do because they just bought a company.
Yeah, but they buy a company every week.
Yeah, but you don't buy a company to screw things up.
I don't know. They've got a fairly long track record. Um,
Yeah, name two.
YouTube launches app for kids. Have you
Oh
played with
yeah,
it? I
talking
haven't
about
played with
screwing
this.
things up. What was that, Dan?
I haven't played with it yet. Have you?
I have. It's actually a halfway decent app.
Cool. Tell us
Um, and if they actually implemented this for their entire suite of products, it would be a decent app. But as it is, it falls short. And it has some glaring stupidities, as far as I can tell.
The biggest thing that shocks me is they're doing their 10-year anniversary, and they're just now getting around to acknowledging that kids like to watch YouTube. You might want to give your kid a more family-friendly version.
Well, it's not even. I mean, it's marginally a more family-friendly version, very marginally. Actually, what I found hysterical was that they bill this as we've created a simplified version of YouTube for your kids to use. And let's be honest here, the kids understand the YouTube app better than the parents do most of the time. So it's the parents that need the simplified app, not the kids.
That's true. Yeah, we should. Yeah, Junior's over here. He said, "Yeah, we should have a YouTube for parents, and the regular YouTube app for the kids."
I mean, the YouTube for Kids app, it's got some nice aspects to it, but it's got some glaring stupidities. Like, it assumes that every kid is the exact same age, and that would be about 3. It assumes that kids can't read, so that when setting it up for the first time, it essentially, in order to get into the settings, it says enter in the following numbers, and it spells those numbers out and assumes the kid can't read what those numbers are.
Isn't it
Yeah.
a curated thing by Google
Well,
with partners like Sesame Street and you know what I
yes
mean?
and no. I mean, that's it. It's more like it starts out with a bunch of default playlists, and there's no way for parents to add their own playlists, which is annoying. So it starts out with kid-friendly playlists, and it has a search feature that is kid-friendly search. That's kind of limiting in a lot of ways.
So it's not just partners like Sesame Street. If I did a kids show, for example, it could potentially show up there without me having to.
Maybe. That's unclear. But what seems pretty clear to me, though, is that parents can't create a playlist for their kids. So if I want my kid to be able to watch Cosmos, which I do, there's no easy way for me to give it to him.
So I think this was announced. It was like some sort of convention or event for kids programming or family something, and there was a hard date. They had to release it or announce it, right? I think that's what pushed it. So I guess it's a work in progress, but it's okay.
Oh, well, here's the thing. let's be honest here. If Google actually lives up to what they say, and they're going to take feedback, and they're going to be constantly improving it, they need to be fast-tracking some of these improvements, which Google almost never does. We have not seen Google products iterate anywhere near as fast as they should be. So yes, this is a work in progress. Yes, hopefully they'll actually work on it some more, but they need to iterate a lot faster than they have been traditionally.
And this isn't new. I mean, Amazon has been doing for a couple of years. They've had in their Kindle stuff, they've had far more advanced, if my memory serves me correctly. I think we talked about this in 2012.
Yeah, I mean, there's, and we've seen, actually, the other thing they announced as part of this is that some of the kid-friendly tablets that are out there, like the Navi tablet, will be getting this, but not yet. How do you not launch with a kid-friendly tablet? I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense, because like my neighbor's kid comes over sometimes, and she uses my tablet, and I stop and I think, okay, and then I see the stuff she downloads,
Well, there's the other thing, and this I think is crucial. This is a great first step for one application. It's still not going to prevent the kids from downloading apps on the Play Store. It's still not going to prevent kids from starting up in-app content. There's a whole host of things that this does not address, that need to be addressed, needed to be addressed 2 years ago.
Exactly. It needs to be like her dad came over and for like a solid 2 hours watched slaughtering videos. Pigs getting slaughtered, cows getting slaughtered. It totally screwed up my recommendations. I probably got on some sort of government watch list. And then his daughter comes over.
Badly, Dan?
Huh?
Never mind. Keep going.
And then his daughter comes over, and she wants to, Dora the Explorer or whatever she's in, whatever's new, right? That's old, but that's so last year. But anyway, like I wish I could just very quickly and simply switch from the whole tablet, from Gary to Sierra, who's like 9 or 7 or whatever she is. And none of my recommendations or his would show up because she's not interested in like the West Wing outtakes or she's interested in her girly stuff, and I don't want a bunch of her recommendations clouding mine and
fortunately
her dad's.
for you, your tablet does have that feature.
Not totally. Or
Yeah,
is it an account or a Google account, or is it the user?
Both. Either.
Because like I can do one thing and then like my Hangouts will still pop up on the tablet. I think.
No, they've got your tablet's got multiple user accounts on it.
It takes every app and switches users?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think I did that, but it's kind of kludgy.
The biggest reason why it's kludgy is because apps really have no clue what they're doing with it still.
Because like the Netflix app is really good. I've got Dan. I've got
the
Rich.
The Netflix app sucks.
The Netflix app is good at. Well, okay. Let me rephrase this. On desktop, if I go to Netflix.com, it says who's watching. Dan, or I have Sierra, I have Gary, I have Richard.
Right. Lousy concept.
I don't think so. It
I
forces
do.
you to make a decision when you first go in there,
No, but there's still only one login.
which is fine because you could have.
No, it's not fine. This is part of the problem. This is what people still aren't
because it could
grasping.
be
We've got this
bypassed.
thing called user accounts. We've had user accounts for decades. Why is it that we still are pretending, for some unknown reason, that everything has to run under a single account, and that that these profiles are good enough? Because they're not. Profiles are a hack. They're a kludge, and they're a workaround for people who don't understand what permissions actually are.
I guess they're trying to get away with like your college kid or kids, right, are all using your thing, and they're cheating the system, and that's what Netflix is worried about, right? That's their motivation to do it this way. They don't want you. I think they actually made it a federal crime to give someone your Netflix password. Literally. I think it's a federal crime. Congress voted on that. He's fact-checking me in real time.
Do I just got to do this one? No, it's a state crime.
I think Congress, I swear to God, I think Congress
Hasn't passed yet.
I thought it happened. I know that they changed the law about the Robert Bork bill, but that's a separate issue, where you couldn't share someone's movie selections, and it was worded so that they couldn't do the Facebook sharing feature.
At any rate. Okay, but this is a real problem. Well, but here's the thing, though. People are sharing it because they have to in order to get their kids to actually use their Netflix account on the kid's tablet. It's a bad solution, and it's bad for so many reasons. And this YouTube solution just perpetuates that. So instead of actually having different accounts that have different permission levels, we have different apps. Wrong solution to the problem. Nice try. I'll give them an A for effort. But the implementation's only barely there.
Okie doke. So we strongly endorse this new thing.
Oh, yes, I do strongly endorse it because the alternative sucks even worse.
There was no alternative, so yeah.
Sure there was. The alternative is you let your kid on your account using your YouTube.
Which would mess up your recommendations, and yours would mess up his.
Well, but you still do, actually, because they're still accessing YouTube using your account. They're just using a different app to do it.
Right. Okay, so next is BlackBerry Update offers access to Android apps.
This boggles... I'm not sure I understand this. I thought they had access to Android apps already.
It's some new blend thing. It's rolling out worldwide. I thought they did too. And it's going to be all the... Maybe it's an expansion of what they had said.
Yippee.
Because they tried everything. I mean, I think they were paying developers like $100,000 bonus if you had an app. I mean, it was crazy what they were spending.
You know what? There's only one thing that this proves. The manufacturers should just make an Android phone that has a keyboard already.
Thank God, yeah.
Quit being idiots. Just put the damn keyboard back.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't.
Because device manufacturers are dipshits. Led by the lead dipshit, Samsung.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I really liked my BlackBerry. I went in the store, as far as the keyboard, I went in the Sprint store and picked up a BlackBerry, and the keyboard's great. I don't know why you have to have a software keyboard. Why can't they put a freaking QWERTY thing, you know?
I just answered that question. They're dipshits.
Okay. We condemn you.
You want me to elaborate?
It's okay. I don't need visual aids. So kudos to BlackBerry, another BlackBerry success story in our program. Next is you're gonna have to figure this one out because I looked at it and it was like, whoa. New Android malware makes your phone makes it look like it's off, and then it spies on you.
Yeah, this is a great story. I love this one.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna pee.
No, it's really short, Dan, so don't take too long peeing.
Okay.
Basically, if you're the sort of person who likes rooting your phone and installing random software from random locations that you've never heard of before, don't do that. This is some really, really nifty malware that intercepts the power off command and basically makes it look like your machine is powered, your phone is powered off. And while it looks like your phone is powered off, it can do all sorts of things. Like, well, everything. But apparently it does a really good job at mimicking your phone being off. So, you know, this is some brilliant malware that those of you who actually use your phone the way most people actually try to use it. Don't worry too much about it. If you stick to the Play Store, you're fine. If you sideload apps very limitedly, be careful, but you should be okay. If you're the kind of person that just shoves everything on your phone the same way you used to load everything onto your Windows machine, well, don't. There's a reason why Android tries to prevent you from doing that. But this is some pretty nifty stuff. So, be careful out there. Don't do stupid things.
What was the TV show where they said that? The cop show. He always said, and let's be careful out there. At the end of every episode, after the initial meeting. And the Hill Street Blues. Not entirely relevant to Android. All right. Alan is holding back. So next up is Google. Is our discussion segment. Google beats back antitrust claims over exclusive Android deals. This is an interesting legal thing, and it's not in our Flipboard magazine because this site, which is merely paraphrasing the ruling, which they link to, won't let me flip it into Flipboard. But they were suing, and it's kind of bogus, as all these suits are, that Google's agreements with makers of Android smartphones require it to make Google their default search engine, which seems to me entirely reasonable. If you're going to use our thing for free and you want all of our apps, you're going to use the one that we make the money from that supports all the others. And that they were claiming that this was limiting people's search when it's not. It's just limiting what their default search engine is. But you can use Bing, you can download whatever you want, search apps. So they said that they were unlikely to prevail on that as far as damages, because they couldn't really demonstrate any damages because no one's forcing them to use Google. This is the age-old argument about Internet Explorer being on the Windows computers, which now is not made because no one uses it. She said that she would allow them to repetition for injunctive relief. In other words, to say that they shouldn't be allowed to do this anymore, but not for damages. And then the second thing, she said that the proposed class, she said that accepting plaintiff's argument would permit any consumer of internet search to have standing to sue for injunctive relief, as a proposed class of Android OS device consumers is no different than from an Apple device user or the computer search user when it comes to innovation and choice in the market for internet search products. In other words, Apple uses Bing, I think, right? Or for some things, I forget. What do you think? Is this noteworthy?
It's mildly noteworthy. I think the biggest thing to note here is that this was a San Francisco court, but we're seeing very similar arguments taking place in Russia and the EU right now. And we'll see what actually happens with all of them. This is not a clear-cut case in every way. I think the biggest thing that Google has going for its favor about Android is that Android itself, anybody can install, anybody can do anything with it that they want. What you can't get are Google services. So if you want to be able to be, Google compatible, you need to license Google stuff. If you're just willing to be, Android compatible, that's a lot easier.
And also, it should be noted that those services come at a cost to Google and a potential revenue stream, and they establish a direct relationship, terms of service agreement, potential monetization back and forth with the users. And it's no different than Viacom saying if you want MTV on your cable system, you've got to have MTV 2, 3, and 4, which no one watches. Or Disney doing the same thing. If you want ESPN, which you got to have on your cable system, you got to take all of our crap channels. I just think it's leveraging. And, you know. So, Google 1, plaintiffs 0. Coming up Friday on Google Plus Week, Inbox is sort of the news, and we've gone back and forth on this, but now it's coming to Google Apps customers. I'm sure that Michael Ellis will be pleased, but your administrator has to approve it, and you have to get in. You have to sign up for. They're still rolling it out, sort of, right?
Oh, they're not even rolling it out. Let's be honest here about what this is. This is Google saying that sometime in the next month or so, they will start on an extremely limited basis for people who have applied for it, letting you have access to Inbox for your Google Apps domain.
So in that gap between vaporware and complete bullshit, this is somewhere hovering in between those two things.
Well, the fact that this is actually a product already for Gmail seems to indicate it's a little closer than vaporware. But this is extremely frustrating.
Is this your go-to app?
Oh yeah, I desperately want this for my main email accounts.
But is this your for the ones you're allowed to use this on?
Absolutely.
Is it your go-to app on desktop and mobile and tablet?
Absolutely.
So you've all but abandoned Gmail for those accounts?
Pretty much, yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm afraid, and I've acknowledged this. I think we said this on Friday. You said my fears are not warranted, and that I'm stupid for not, going full throttle on this thing.
Yep, that's pretty much my opinion of your opinion.
Actually, it's your opinion of all of my opinions.
No, you've got a couple of opinions that are actually not bad.
Thanks.
I mean, you like me.
She has a great personality. Oh man. Okay, so I guess it's still not open even on desktop. I mean, to everybody, right? But I think it's a quick turnaround, right? You sign up for it, and like in 2 or 3 days, you're going to get an invite. It's not like...
Yeah, anybody who wants an invite, let me know, and I'll send you one. I've got a pile sitting there. I know everyone, a bunch of people have piles. I
haven't given anybody one. Do they...
If you've got a Gmail account, it's easy to get one these days.
Okay.
If you've got an apps account, you need to sign up and wait forever.
So the quickest way to explain this, someone that doesn't have it, is Gmail is purely linear. Although they've got some neat tabs, like now they separate it into your primary inbox, which is like your dad emailing you something, or if Alan and I frequently correspond, that sort of thing, and then social promotions.
Here's the better way to explain it.
Okay.
Gmail is message oriented. You have messages come in, and messages are grouped together, and messages have threads, and messages are put into folders, but it's very message oriented. Inbox is task oriented. It goes on the assumption that with any piece of email that you get, you're going to do something with it. And that might be you need to act on it immediately, or you need to delete it immediately, or you need to do something about it tomorrow, or anything like that. But the assumption is every piece of email that you have, you're going to do something with.
So in your case, where you're a developer and you have to be able to compartmentalize and prioritize, it's a godsend.
It's not just because I'm a programmer, because I want this for my personal email too. But it's things like when I get the email from my parents telling me about, what time Thanksgiving dinner is, if I'm in the middle of doing something else, but I still want to reply to them, I'll say, okay, remind me about this in an hour. Or remind me about this tomorrow morning when I'm not in the middle of work.
Gotcha.
If I get a message about something that I need to deal with immediately, I can deal with it immediately. And some of the email, like for some mailing lists, I usually don't want them showing up in my inbox in the middle of the day. So I'll say, okay, hide all of these until after work, and then I'll deal with them then.
It sounds like it'd be terrific for, say, a salesperson or any sort of professional. I'm gonna give it a shot because
Exactly, which
what
is
I've
why I'm
done.
baffled about why they're doing this bullshit about slow rollout to companies.
Well, they always do that. It's just like why
No, no,
companies are
this is
slow to adopt the new apps. I mean, this is age-old battle with the IT guy who's a
this is
control freak because he doesn't want to fix something he doesn't understand yet, and we'll do it in 3 months, and everyone else
yeah,
has
but
it.
Dan, this is exceptional bullshit. This is really something that is designed for business people in a lot of ways. And they stalled for 3 months in the first place getting it to them, and now they're doing this. You've got to apply for it, and maybe we will give it to you. That's bullshit. And the worst part is, there have been a number of complaints about Inbox that still aren't addressed. So they're asking for more input, and yet they haven't paid attention to the input that they've gotten so far. But Inbox is great. I love it. I swear by it. I swear at it. I really, really want it for my main email, and it's going to be forever till I get it.
Okay. Well, I assume you've done your stuff. Is it for your main business email? Is that something you can like your personal apps account, or is that with the company you're with?
Both.
Okay. So, but your guys on
I want it
board.
for my I want it for my personal apps account. I hope that I'll be, and it shouldn't be too hard for me to convince my administrator when we're finally allowed to get it to let me use it. But that's when we're allowed to get it.
But
We're
it's still
probably not
optional on a user basis, right? He authorizes it, but none of the users are forced to do it. It just opens the
exactly,
opportunity. Yeah.
exactly.
And then you can be a little evangelist among your group for that. Okay. All right, cool. And then the last story coming up Friday is really it's a story, but it's the larger issue. The, the gates are opening. NBC just updated their iOS and their Android apps to allow for folks to live stream their local NBC station if your station is owned by NBC. So I'm in the DC market, so WRC, which is we have a good relationship with, um, they I could watch it, except I can't because I'm a Comcast business consumer or user, so it doesn't work for me. And I was bitching today, and they said, "Oh, it's a FCC thing. They're forcing us to not allow this." But then I called this really nice guy at Comcast Residential Service, and he said that I could actually get double this internet speed up and down. I'm getting 50 and 10, and I can get like 105 and 20 or 25, and more channels. I get MSNBC. I don't get that now. I get Fox News and CNN, but I want all three. I want the hard right, the hard left, and I want the middle, because I'm into seeing what everyone's talking about as a journalist. And why the hell Comcast would block MSNBC for me is mind-boggling, because they own it. So they're causing them to get lower ratings, their own freaking property, but they're giving me CNN and Fox News, which they don't own. And even if they have to pay for it, it's just on paper. I don't understand that whole deal. So, a rare Comcast fail. But this is interesting because I think CBS has this, and they're bundling like the live streaming thing with the archives, and it's CBS Anywhere, whatever they're calling it, and they're charging for it. Whereas NBC is saying if you have a pay TV subscription, then you can just get this, and you can watch your local NBC station, primetime, daytime, local news, everything, the whole deal. If it's an NBC owned station, and so that's the specific story. The larger story is of course yet another major linear television provider is being forced to confront the threat that is Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Instant Video. And I think that in one of the court cases or whatever, it came out, or in one of the filings about the purchase of something, that NBC actually is a money loser for Comcast. That they don't make any money for NBC Universal. that it's the prestige or whatever. Maybe they're going to figure it out and they don't know what to do. But actually, I'm not convinced that any of the broadcast networks as a whole actually earn a profit. I think they all lose money. I think that's why they're all owned. What doesn't, I guess GE sold, NBC's owned by Comcast, ABC's owned by Disney, CBS I forget. But, I mean, let's face it, if you were a giant corporation, it'd be kind of cool to own one of the big three. For a variety of reasons. None of which apparently are profit. Any thoughts on this, Alan?
I can't comment.
Okay. Any final thoughts on anything else?
Nope.
Okay, so we have two programs. This program, and can I do a screenshot of you? Am I allowed to share that? This thing you're playing with?
I wouldn't be doing it if I couldn't.
All right, so tell us what this is about.
We've covered this a couple of times now. This is some effects.
Go ahead and move a little bit so they can see what's going on.
Some effects using the new Hangout effect system. We've talked about this a bit on Friday's show. This one is based on something that Gervin has done, but it's it's my take, and B, it's some different programming than the way he did it.
And you're obviously an Andy Warhol fan.
Not really, no.
Or you're trolling him, one of the two. I'm not sure. But neat. Is there a name for this yet?
It's Hangout Effects. The app itself that I'm running, I've called it Hangout Effects.
Okay.
The system that it's using are the new effects chain. If you're a programmer, feel free to check out the developer channel. There'll be more there.
And also check out Alan's book, Designing and Developing for Google Glass. Or is it Developing and Designing? Or which is it?
It is Designing and Developing for Google Glass.
Okay. And that freaks me out right there. Okay, so that's from O'Reilly Media, co-authored by our good friend Jason Salas. We have two programs. One is called Google Plus Week. That is Friday nights. I'm just going to say 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. It's supposed to be 8:30, but everyone's late.
It's supposed to be 8.
Was it 8? I thought, we switched it to 8:30. And where's Cadeas?
Way back when we began it, it was 8, and then it eventually drifted to 8:30.
Used to be every night, remember? It was 5 nights a week.
Yeah, you got lazy.
I did. But anyway, Friday night is Google Plus Week, where we discuss Google Plus and tech news and a lot of weird random stuff, which always pisses off Alan, which is probably why we do it. And then every Monday night we have this program, 9 Eastern, 6 p.m., 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, where we discuss all things Android. So thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. Let me do a quick check here, see if we got comments, which I've sorted. What's the status? Do we know the status of the former comment tracker system?
I don't, but last I heard, at least parts of it were working.
Kiro wants to know, can you explain to me what I paid $10 for Google Apps for?
You'll have to answer that yourself, but you've gotten features from that, such as being able to have 15-person Hangouts. I believe you've got a larger scope of more file space that you can save. That was one of the things that came with Google Apps. You certainly didn't get access to early access to any of the features. I mean,
when's the last time you filled up a Hangout, a 10-person Hangout? Year and a half?
2 days ago?
Was
3?
it work or was it social? Or developer, so a mix of the two?
It was professional. I mean, it wasn't social.
I used to be able to start a Hangout, it would fill up immediately. And then now here we sit, right?
Yeah, well, I think that says something about you, doesn't it?
A rare dig.
Look, Dan, if you're going to open it up, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you hang yourself with it.
But yeah, it used to be. But I haven't done a public Hangout in probably over a year. So maybe I should try it again before I criticize. Or I could just be like Fox News or MSNBC and just blindly criticize. And Alan, I just want to clarify, we were not, in fact, on Apollo 8. All right, thank y'all for watching. We appreciate it. I'm Dan McDermott. Check me out, danmcdermott.net. Check out Alan at O'ReillyMedia.com or O'Reilly.com or whatever the hell it is.
Prisoner.com.
Prisoner.com. But buy his book. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. We appreciate it. We'll be back next Monday with another jam-packed episode of the Grouchy the Grouchy Alan and Clueless Dan show, also known as Our Android Week. Hopefully, Cadeas and Pam will be joining us, and maybe Kevin. But I think he's got school stuff, and Cadeas is in some sort of project. He's been kind of off the radar for 10 days or something. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Until next time, have an awesome Android Week. We'll see you.